phone farted. I don't know if it's necessarily a problem that's just in Toronto, but definitely like being able to have the money to do what it is that you want to do. Like I'm in kind of a little better of a situation for that than like I think some people are, but at the same time, I don't know, like actually making a band like a self-supporting entity while still like working and doing other shit other than just you know slinging the guitar all the time is definitely a problem. Also, I mean, finding other like-minded acts to play with that'll actually bring the same kind of stuff to the table that we do, and you know, being able to put on good shows often enough that people will A, still come to them, and B, that it's not just, you know, your friends, and like actually being able to gain, you know, like have some people come to your shows that are actually interested in your band and not just like supporting you, you know? I don't know, like, I mean, also without having a record, it's a little difficult to say just because we don't have any issues of distribution yet because there's nothing to distribute. But then again, I see that as being a problem where it's like, you know, the second that we actually have people coming to shows in Toronto, the second that we leave Toronto, it's going to be impossible and it's going to be like starting all over again. But then again, I don't know if I don't think that's a new problem for bands, so I don't know. I would say turnout to any show always depends on how much you put it out there on Facebook and whatnot. Because if I didn't tell anybody that we were playing a show and I didn't promote for it at all, then, you know, and like most of the promoters that I've dealt with at all pretty much are just dudes with a big friends list and access to some guy to make a poster. You know what I mean? And most of them don't even put posters up around the city or anything like that. They just put a poster on a Facebook event and then invite 2,500 people to it. And then if, you know, 60 of them show up, then we have a good show. But if 10 of them show up, then it's not that we don't have a good show because I'll play to a fucking empty room. I don't give a shit. But at the same time, like, it's not as good, right? So, I mean, through the internet, yeah, that's definitely important. Then I guess if people come to one show, then you have to play a good show or they won't come back. That's mostly it. And then, like, I don't know. I mean, there are good gigs and bad gigs no matter who's promoting them, too. So, generally just depends on, like, depends on the weather more than anything else. Some good, some bad. It depends who it is. I find that if the promoter is a musician, like, for example, like when I did those shows at the Cameron House and Devin Cuddy and Curran Folkers were in charge of doing everything, and they were kind of like, you know, my friends and in my crew and just like down to just like have a show and have everybody come out and have a good time and we pass the hat and everybody makes an equal cut, like everything's totally good and fine and there's not really a whole lot of pressure to do anything or you know like be a certain way or anything like that. But then, you know, if you go in when it's like your first show somewhere, they'll throw you on whenever you want and you don't really know what's going on and they kind of just tell you what to do and you hope that it goes well. Yeah, but you kind of just get treated as like, you know, the next sort of cog through the place. But then if you actually bring people to the show and you kind of know what you want and you ask for the right things in the sound check and, you know, all of your people are there on time, you generally have to behave in a more professional manner than the promoters themselves behave in order to get any respect from them whatsoever. Well, I mean, it happens, like, I think it happens a decent amount, like after you play a show or something like that, if somebody hasn't seen you before, like you always get the, hey man, good job, and you never know if it's like, you know, true or whether they're just saying like, you know, you played a show, good job, that's sweet.
Do you ever see them again?
Sometimes, yeah. Like there are definitely like a couple of people who come to our shows that I didn't know before that, or that I like, you know, met and invited to the show, but they come because they've come to the show, you know? And like I've gotten, you know, like some people like sending me like messages on Facebook and stuff, but in general, like we don't have a record out yet. We don't have anything like we don't even have buttons or stickers or any of this kind of shit going on where I can give something when somebody says, "Hey, good show." I can say, here, take this home with you, drunk guy, and then when you wake up in the morning, you can actually look us up and remember that we exist, not just oh man, that band at the Rancho that went on third was sweet, you know, like there's not really, I don't know. But at the same time, like, I mean, while the internet has done a lot to like make it, you know, impossible to charge any money for your music, it's also done a lot for if somebody wants to find out who was playing the night before when they were hammered, they can go fucking look it up on Facebook and find out who they actually saw. So maybe that's beneficial. But yeah, in general, I don't think it's, I don't know. Just when you play a show with somebody, like with a promoter or with a venue, remember what you liked and what you didn't like, and always learn from it. You know, if you go, like, for example, like, we had a really shitty set at Sneaky D's one time, which definitely was partially my fault, but also, just because we weren't on the ball and we didn't have a good sound check, and I didn't know the sound person, and I was unfamiliar with the room, and I don't know, and just, like, a number of different things, and I learned, that I'm a little wary of playing that room again, for sure. And also that I just know that if we do, I need to be on my shit, and that we need to, like, we can't just mail anything in. You pretty much can't mail anything in at any point if you want things to be good. Because if you do, then it's more likely that things will screw up. And you need to just kind of, like, you know what you're doing, and be sure of yourself. And don't take no for an answer.
Cool. Awesome. Alright.